Jimmy Butler has officially been suspended for the third time this season, the third time this year, and we're still in January. Pat Riley and the organization have come down with the hammer, so to speak. They have given Butler now an indefinite suspension, meaning he will not anytime soon be returning to the Miami Heat and being a part of the organization. We very well could have seen the final game of Jimmy Butler in a Heat uniform. My name is Manuel Buroz, and we're going to talk about all three of the suspensions that were given to Butler this month alone. Mind you, we still have 4 more days in this month, as well as a possible plot twist in a trade partner for the Miami Heat, and then someone that the Miami Heat apparently cannot, from Jimmy Butler's side, he will not play for this team, and we'll talk about that in a minute here. But first things first, want to make sure that you guys are continuing to subscribe to the Heat Digest community. You guys have done a great job as we are on the road to 2,000 followers, or 2,000 subscribers, 82.6% of you guys are not subscribed, that are watching the videos, that are coming back and, interacting with the videos. We want to get that number down and get that 17.4% number up, as again, we continue our trek towards 2,000 subscribers. I mentioned before, a little bit of a plot twist going on here when it comes to Butler and a possible trade partner for the Heat. We talk about that plot twist. It comes in the form of the 4-team trade variation. The Heat, the Pistons, the Bucks, and the Suns. Now, in this trade, the plot twist comes with the Bucks being the landing spot for Bradley Beal, because, again, as much as we all know, this trade really comes down, or this situation, I think the most likely outcome is Jimmy ends up in Phoenix. I think that's where everybody's money's on. If I was a betting man, I would definitely put that down in the books, but it's just a matter of the Suns don't have anything else to offer but Bradley Beal, and the Heat don't want Bradley Beal. Respectfully to Bradley Beal, I've heard a lot of reports of the Chicago Bulls possibly now emerging as a trade piece. If that's the case, I could definitely make a video, or Houston can make a video on that, so let us know down in the comments below. But this 4-team trade between the Heat, Pistons, Bucks, and Suns goes as follows. The Heat will get Khris Middleton and Bobby Portis, along with Ryan Dunn, who is from Phoenix, who I believe will be a solid pickup there, a young guy, a young guard who has really, left an imprint on Phoenix. A 2027 first-round pick, at least favorable of the Jazz, Timberwolves, and Cavaliers. So, again, the least protected or the least highly valued pick of those 3 teams. The Pistons would get Pat Connaughton, Marjin Beauchamp, a 2029 first-round pick, and again, the least favorable of the Jazz, Timberwolves, and Cavaliers. The Bucks would get Bradley Beal, a 2025 first-round pick, least favorable of the Timberwolves and Cavaliers, and then the Suns would just be getting Jimmy Butler. Again, going to break this down from the Heat side of things overall, so we'll hit the other 3 teams real quick. Obviously, the Suns, they want Jimmy Butler. They get the guy they want. They'll deal with whatever the baggage and drama comes out of that, so they get their guy. They're obviously in win-now mode, and they need to push all the chips into the middle. It's an upgrade. I definitely believe it's an upgrade over Bradley Beal. The Bucks get Bradley Beal. Now you stay in contention for the playoffs. Do I think it's a big move? No, it's more of a lateral move. I still would take Khris Middleton over Bradley Beal, in my opinion. But to give you similar styles, again, a scoring guard who can be efficient at times, can't be the number 1 player on the championship team. But when Giannis Antetokounmpo is your number 1 player, and in my opinion, Damian Lillard will be your third best player, or your second best player, Bradley Beal being number 3 at this point in his career, even though it didn't work out in Phoenix, maybe coming back over to the East will help him. And again, you still get a pick for this draft coming up. For the Pistons, you kind of, it's nothing more than being a filler, honestly, for them. They get some expiring contracts. They get a first-round pick for their troubles. So nothing much that they really hurt them or help them. But, I mean, again, maybe it helps them a little bit more because of the first-round pick. But for the Heat, specifically talking, we have Khris Middleton, Bobby Portis. For the Bobby Portis side of things, you get a solid bench player, a solid rotation player when it comes to playoff time. We've seen the Bobby Portis games. We've seen the Bobby Portis series even. So I believe that would really help, and is a forward. It's somewhere there the Heat right now, I wouldn't say they're lacking in it, but they're a little thin, because right now you're going to, if the playoffs started today, you'd be expecting a Khalil Ware minutes that I just don't know if he's able to sustain that right now. And then obviously for Khris Middleton, which I'll get to in a minute, and then Ryan Dunn, who I think is the X factor for the Heat, a very good defensive guard. I think he's been a great job in Phoenix, and I truly believe he could be and will be a rotation player in the playoffs for either Phoenix if he stays there, or if Miami, if we were to come to here. Now, when we talk about Khris Middleton's side of things here, the Khris Middleton side of things, He's not having, yes, we obviously know that what he's been in his prime. I don't think he's necessarily there anymore, maybe on the latter end of it. He has had some injury-riddled seasons, and it's really hurt him. He is going into age 33, or is 33, if not already, at this point in his career. But he's still averaging 12 points per game. He's averaging 5 assists per game, 3 rebounds on 48, 38, and 83 shooting splits. What you're looking for? Well, first things first, you will need another body. The biggest thing right now for the Heat, they don't have anybody to replace what Jimmy Butler, the minutes he's been logging for the Heat for the past few years. And that's going to hurt you in the long run. Yes, you're giving minutes to Jaime Jaquez Jr., Tyler Hero, Bam, Khalil Ware, all the young guys, and that's great. That's awesome. We love to see that as fans. But when the playoffs come, you're going to have to rely on experience as much as you're going to rely on talent. And Khris Middleton, push comes to shove, is he your best player on the championship team? No. He's proven to be the second best player on the championship team, but even still, we don't have a number one on this team right now unless Tyler Hero continues his ascension at a rapid rate. So at the very least, you get a closer. At the very least, you get a efficient scorer for the Heat. And right now, he is on a player option and with an expiring $34 million contract. I don't think it hurts the contract situation that much, if at all. So I really think this could be a trade that helped the Heat in the short term, as well as puts them in position for a long-term success. You can maybe flip Khris Middleton. You can maybe renegotiate a contract situation on a sign and trade. I do think there is a world where this works out for both sides. Now, there's only 2 scenarios that make sense for right now. And the 2 scenarios are the Sun, Heat, Pistons, Bucks, which I already mentioned, or the Sun, Heat, Raptors, and Bucks. There is a lot of rumor going around that Bruce Brown from the Toronto Raptors is a player to keep an eye on that could land in Miami. I think he'd be a great piece. He is a Heat culture type of guy, a role player that in the right situation, we've seen it in Denver. He was a big part of the championship run. He was a big reason that the Miami Heat did not win a championship when they played the Nuggets, in the 2023 finals. So I do think a combo guard who can play 1 through 4, in my opinion. Obviously, we know his stint in Brooklyn where he played even the 5 at some point because they were so thin. But a 1 through 4 type of guard, maybe more 1 through 3, switchable on the perimeter, can handle the ball great in the open court. Not the fastest guard, but he's able to get downhill, make plays, athletic at the rim. I think sneaky athletic for sure. The biggest thing from this, though, there isn't a Western Conference team that has shown interest in Bradley Beal. And that's, at the end of the day, the biggest thing is if we were in the old NBA where the CBA and the aprons weren't a thing and all that kind of stuff was not around, this trade probably is already done. Jimmy Butler's in Phoenix, Bradley Beal is in Miami or somewhat of Miami, and we're good to go. Or maybe even there's a third team trade that would have already happened where Bradley Beal goes to an X team and Miami gets some assets in return from both those teams, the Suns and whoever else Bradley Beal would end up in. But because the financial just restraints on the league right now and everybody kind of getting used to it, we are in a situation where you need probably 4 teams. Like you might need a 4-team, 5-team trade to try and get this situation resolved for the Heat. Again, let me know down below in the comments if you want a Raptors trade. I have heard reports. I definitely have some stuff in the archives. I was already planning on making a video on it anyway, so let me know if you guys want to get that video out to you a little bit sooner. But these are the situations we're looking at right now. These are the situations that we see for the Heat. You need another 2 teams. You need another, maybe for sure 1, maybe 2 teams, because again, you and the Suns are just not going to get it done. From the Suns' perspective, they don't have what you want, and from the Heat's perspective, worst case, we're not a championship team right now as is. So it's not like you trade Jimmy Butler, you're gonna make a backwards move. You're even without Jimmy Butler, you're still a playoff play-in team. Like moving Jimmy Butler, again, unless it's for a monumental win-now move, win-now player, you're not going to be catapulted into the tier of, in the East specifically, the Celtics, the Knicks, the Bucks. You're not going to be in the Cavs. You're not going to be in that conversation barring a big trade. You're going to be in the conversation with, above the Sixers, who are having a rough year right now, obviously the Wizards and the Nets and the Hornets, but you're going to be in that middle pack with the Raptors, with the Pacers, with the Hawks, who are actually having a good year. Like, that's where you're looking at right now. So it's not really, barring anything crazy, I think the gap between the first and second tier of the Eastern Conference is so big that you don't necessarily need to rush it. I do think the suspension is the right move. I do think the suspension will help the Heat not deal with all this drama. And, there'll still be some stuff. We're still going to talk about some stuff because at the end of the day, this is probably the biggest storyline in the NBA right now. There are a lot of things going on team-wise, but I think from an individual standpoint you've heard the reports from Brian Windhorst, from Tim Bontemps, from all the big names in reporting for the NBA. This is the domino that needs to fall for everything else to, let the chips fall where they may after. Jimmy Butler trade will be the next shifting moment in NBA history. Not to the level of a Kevin Durant at Golden State or anything like that, but it will be the next thing. And I think it's just magnified because of, again, the financial constraints and restrictions that the NBA is dealing with right now, again, being the first time around for a lot of these teams and for everybody, obviously, in this new CBA. The Jimmy Butler trade is very, very important for the future of the Heat, for the future of the league as a whole. There's one team, though, that, according to Jimmy Butler, he will not play for no matter what. That team is the Memphis Grizzlies. That is the one team that Jimmy Butler apparently will not play for. He has said, quote, Jimmy Butler wants to be traded anywhere except the Memphis Grizzlies. Why? I really couldn't tell you guys, aside from maybe honestly, I couldn't tell you guys. I just thought that it was something to note where out of the 29 other teams, you're down to 28. Granted, maybe not all 28 are interested in Jimmy Butler, and there is technically down to 27 because you already know that the Phoenix Suns are interested and they want to be the landing spot for Jimmy no matter what the scenario is. So you got 27 other teams. You got to figure out a way to try and make it all work to get Jimmy Butler, to get the most out of Jimmy Butler, even though Jimmy Butler wants to end up in Phoenix. I don't know if he's going to, and if he does, I don't even know how that trade package looks as of right now. But that was the Bucks, Pistons, Heat, and Suns trade. If you guys like it, let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know any other trade assets or tradable players you guys want to hear. Again, I've heard reports of Beal landing in Chicago. I think that could be something interesting. I have heard reports of Bruce Brown being a player that the Heat would not mind at all being a player in the organization after dealing with all of this right now. So let me know down in the comments below what you guys like to see. What do you guys think about that trade? And we'll catch you guys in the next video of Heat Digest.